All right, there we go. Got my cheese on there, got some parsley, got my sour cream here. Where's my hot sauce? What about my hot sauce? Okay, so this is what you're gonna need. First of all, you're gonna need some nice ground beef. This beef, I keep it in the back of the fridge where you're supposed to keep your beers and stuff. That's why it's like half frozen, and the color may not look appetizing, but that's my method. I keep the ground beef in the back of the fridge, so it kind of changes the color a bit. Bell pepper, an onion, any color. I bought a lot of these, so I prefer red, but it's up to you. Some celery. Celery. I used to ask my mom, how do you say celery in Spanish? You know, when I was younger, and she would say celery. It's actually not. It's apio. Anyway, factoid. I'm gonna have a half. It's about half. Yeah, half a head of garlic. I'm gonna chop those up. You can use olive oil for the beef, but really beef releases a lot of oil. So I'm just showing it in case you want to use it to cook the beef up, but I'm not going to use olive. You know what? Let me put this on the side. You're going to need 2 cans of stewed tomatoes. The reason why I bought this brand is because it was on sale, not because of a promotion of any kind of sorts, or you can stew your own tomatoes. It's fairly easy. I'm also going to use diced tomatoes with chilies. I'm going to use 3 cans of these. And this brand I actually do like. So this is kind of a promotion, but it's not. I'm also going to use, I'm going to start with about 16 ounces of tomato sauce. I'm using these because the sauce I made the other day I want to use for pasta and pizza. So this is fine. I'm going to start with 16 ounces, but I may add another ounce or even a 4th can because I like a balance of meat and sauce in my chili. Okay? We're also going to use half of this can of kidney beans and half of this can of pink beans. People usually put pinto beans in their chili, but I don't have any pinto beans. So a whole can of one or half of each or whatever you want. And lastly, there's a secret ingredient that I want to mention. You're going to use some vinegar, but I'll show you how to use this later. This is the very last step. Alright, so I'm going to start by heating up the beef. I almost forgot the seasonings that you're going to have to use. Okay, I just want to show you something. Will this focus here? Yeah, so this is a mix of chili powder that has chili pepper, coriander, salt, onion, oregano, garlic, paprika, and cumin. And the nice thing about this one is that it doesn't have like MSG or any other preservative. But what I do like is I like to mix my own chili powder because these sometimes have a lot of salt. So what I use is I just get the different components myself. I'll use cayenne pepper. I have my coriander here, my cumin, my oregano, onion powder, garlic powder, and actually that mix of chili powder there doesn't have garlic powder, but I'm going to use garlic powder. Oh no, wait, it does. I'm sorry. I'm wrong. It has both. I have my black pepper, my paprika, and my salt. Okay, so those are the seasonings you would need to make chili powder, or you can just buy one. Buy a good one like this one that doesn't have any sort of preservative or anti-caking agent. Okay, so those are the seasonings. Peace! Alright, so I got all my veggies chopped up, and I just want to review this one more time that when I use bell pepper and anything, I always take this white stuff out because it's bitter. You don't have to 100% get every piece out, but... And actually the bell pepper is pretty big, so I'm going to use half. Okay, that's good. Alright, so now I'm going to dice it up. Okay. Alright, so one more thing. I was watching these professional chefs once make chili, and they were like, look, put whatever you want to in it. So I got my base veggies ready. Pepper, onion, celery, and garlic. But I like mushrooms, so I'm going to put in some mushrooms. You don't have to do this, or you can add a different sort of vegetable. Thing is, don't let no one tell you what to put into your chili. You put what... I mean, listen, if I want to do, I'll put plátanos in my chili, alright? Cafe, or sometimes on a crowded street. I'm listening to Stevie. I've been near you, but you never notice me. Alright, so I'm going to put in these mushrooms. And I'm going to leave them just like this, because I like their shapes. So again, you want to put corn in it, you want to put green beans or string beans or whatever you want, that's fine. Alright, so here's my beef. You know what, maybe I should turn down the heat so you could see it, because it's smoking. Okay, so wow, that's reflective. You see reflection of the beef in there, and that's the beef juice on the side there. Alright, so the beef is nice and browned. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to throw my veggies in there. And I'm going to stir fry them together with the beef, get them nice and combined. Maybe a minute or two. Maybe you like the onions to be more translucent, or maybe you want them crunchier. I don't know. I like to get everything nicely mixed up, combined. So I'm gonna, this is good. I have it mixed here. And I'm gonna season it with the chili mix that I made. Or if you have a pre-prepared mix, that's fine. How much? It depends upon your salt preference. You know, this is why I say it's better to mix it yourself. That way you can control the amount of salt that goes in. So that was about, I would say, 2 or 3 spoonfuls of my version. And quite frankly, maybe you like more onion powder flavor, maybe you like more garlic powder flavor, I don't know. It's up to you. But here, this is about 2 teaspoons, a little more than 2 teaspoonfuls of my chili seasoning. I'm gonna, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna add a little more paprika, just for the color. That's up to me, and that's up to you. Okay? But you're not done seasoning, because when you're done, or in the last phases of making this, you're gonna taste it to see if you need to adjust it. Alright, it's nicely combined. I'm going to cover it and let it sit on a low heat for maybe a good 2 or 3 minutes. Let me turn the heat down here. 2 or 3 minutes and we'll come back. I want to check to see if the mushrooms and the onion, if it gets nice and soft. Okay. Alright, I let it go a little longer because 3 minutes didn't soften the vegetables up as I wanted, but now I see, yeah, it's at a good, yeah, okay. Can you see that? I don't know if the smoke allows you to see. Okay, so now at this point I'm gonna add my dried tomatoes with chile. It's 1 can. And I'm gonna add my stewed tomatoes. It's 2 tomato products. And I poured the rest out into this bowl here, so I'll throw that in there. I'm gonna give it a good mix. And now we are going to add our tomato sauce. It's a lot of tomato on tomato action. Tomato versus tomato. And so we're gonna do 1 can. Sorry, I'm in the way. I don't have a camera person. Get a little spoon to get that tomato sauce that's hanging out in the corners there. That's 1 can of tomato sauce. My 2nd can. And I'm going to use a 3rd tomato sauce can. I want to show you this old school, it's got rust on it, this old school can opener. My mom used to use something like this to open up cans. And she used to just sit there and do this, or stand there and do this. I don't use this to open these. I use a mechanical can opener. But just showing you some old school stuff for the sake of showing you old school stuff. Alright, so now we're going to give this a big mix. Ooh, smells nice. But remember, with all this tomato that we added, we're going to have to re-season the chili. Alright? But for now, if you like this much sauce, you know, the proportionality of sauce to meat and veggies, you can go ahead and leave this alone. Or you can add another, I would say another 8 ounces or 6 ounces of tomato sauce. Alright, so what we're going to do is, I'm going to bring this up to a boil. And when it comes up to the boil, I'm going to cover it and I'm going to bring it down to a simmer. And we're going to leave it on that simmer for, we'll start with, I mean, there's people that boil, you know, they'll leave their chili simmering all day, but I'm hungry now. So we'll simmer it. Let's start with half an hour, 45 minutes, and I'll come back to it. But first I want it to come to a boil. Alright, so my chili's boiling. You see it there come to that boil, so I'm just going to give it a nice little mix here. And now I'm going to add the beans. So the funny thing is, I took a phone call. I'm always taking phone calls when I'm cooking. And I accidentally opened up a can of black beans instead of the kidney beans. So fine, my chili is going to have black beans, kidney beans, and pink beans. That's fine. All fine. I used half a can of each. If you want more, that's fine. If you want to use one type of bean, that's fine. If you want to use 20 types of beans, that's fine. Doesn't matter. But what I like is that the black beans give it a nice contrast. You see? What I may do is I may actually add a little more. A little more of the pink. And I like to rinse them off, especially if they came from a can. You know, because of the salt content. If you're going to use from the bag and, you know, you soften them yourself, of course you have to do it at least the night before. Alright, so I'm going to stir this. If you want to add something else, whatever vegetable is fine. It's fine, it's your chili. Alright, so now I'm going to bring it up to a boil again. Then cover it and simmer it. And I'm going to try to start, what time is it? I'm kind of hungry now. Yeah, I'm going to try to let it simmer for an hour at least. And then we'll come back to it. Alright, so I'm going to let it come to a boil again. Alright, it came up to another boil. I'm going to mix it again. We're also going to season it again because remember all this tomato, it affected our seasoning, but we're going to do that later. Alright, so came to the boil, I mixed it. I'm going to top it, cover it, and I'm going to bring it to a simmer. We're going to start with an hour. Okay. Alright, so I actually let it go a little longer than an hour. I let it go for, what time is it? Yeah, about an hour and a half. I mean, the ideal thing is to let it go for like 2 hours on a very low simmer. So I had it on a very low simmer for the hour, and then I turned it up slightly. Still simmering, but a little, you know, more. And an hour and a half is the amount of time I've left it. Give it a mix. It looks like there's more liquid because, you know, the vegetables release their water into the pot. Alright, so that's a good mix, good stir. And now I'm going to taste it to see if I need to adjust it for seasoning. You know, I added all that stuff to it, so. Not bad. Alright, but I'm going to add a little more salt. A little more salt. I realized we didn't put black pepper in the beginning, so I'm going to do that now. It's fine. Some black pepper. And maybe a little more cayenne, a dash of cayenne. It's a dash of cayenne. Alright, so now I'm going to give that a mix. And taste it again. And see if that's where I like it. Okay. Well, I kind of want to show it to you, but you know what? Alright, so I put a dash more salt and just let it continue this uncovered. Remember that, being that you're making your own chili powder, you know, you've adjusted for the salt, so. Okay, so now, this is cooked. I let it go uncovered for like a couple of minutes, 5 minutes. This is the last thing we're gonna add. Secret recipe. You're gonna take, let me shake this vinegar up. My apple cider vinegar. You're gonna take about 2 tablespoonsful of, it could be white vinegar, it could be apple cider vinegar. You're gonna get it in there nice and, you know, mixed in with the other stuff. Believe me, it makes a difference. It kind of like, I don't know, seals the flavors. So apple cider vinegar is what I use, or you can use white vinegar. About 2 tablespoons full. I'm going to give it another taste. Alright, I'm going to serve this. Oh, before I serve it, I'm going to let it sit here. I'm going to turn off the heat, let it sit here for 5 minutes. Alright, so let me serve myself. I got a little rice there, got some cheese, a That's some parsley, chopped up parsley. All right. Thing is, you get chili from a diner, they usually serve it on rice, and it's like 20 pounds of rice and not much chili. So here at Bleddy's, you get the reverse, baby. All right, what else can we add? I like to add a little sour cream on the side there. And the cheese right on top. There's a little bit of parsley there. All right. I probably could have put the sour cream in a little more, a little better organized, but doesn't change the flavor. All right. All right, so here's my chili with some rice. The sour cream, I could have done a better job of stacking it on there. All right. All right. My chili.